Hi, welcome to the CLI-ALPMA Innovation and Legaltech Week 2021 on-demand program. This session is focusing on what do clients, data and successful legal practices have in common? Everything. My name is Mel Telecican. I'm the owner of an agency called Loyalest. We specialise in law firm marketing. I work with firms in Australia, small and large, to assist them with their marketing efforts. And our key goal is to help with marketing prominence. I can proudly say that when we work with people, the phrases that I hear often are, you get it, Mel. And the other one that I hear regularly is, I wish I'd understood this about marketing before. So I really do hope that I can bring that to you in today's session. So in this session, I'm here to share with you what you can use and what the data is that you can access that you already likely have access to. And so we use that data in the businesses that we work with, and you can use it in your firm to create really confident strategic decision making. So it can be hard to know what is working and what's not working, and you're just throwing money at different marketing efforts, but the data doesn't lie, and it provides wonderful insights, incredible insights into what's actually happening historically. So if you're a practice manager, a lawyer, or perhaps a partner, it's really helpful for you to be able to understand what data is available to you, free or otherwise. This session will explore how you can locate, interpret, and use the data that is available so that you can make more confident strategic decision making, particularly from a marketing and business positioning standpoint. All successful strategies start with evidence, not assumptions. And what we see in marketing often, or what you might be familiar with, is that often there are some assumptions made. And so when we look at data, it gives us that confidence. One really strong source of data that people tend to use first if they go looking for that sort of information is something you may have accessed already, and that is your accounting software. So that's normally the first place people start for data and insights. It's really great if you have itemized elements that you can actually track to see what is the most profitable for you potentially, what is the highest volume, really get some solid data to make decisions off. Because when we're busy in the day-to-day of running a practice, the reality is that we often make assumptions, or whatever is more recent in our mind is really what we tend to act upon. But outside of that, there are other opportunities as well. So let's look at a couple of those super briefly. The first one is email marketing software, or CRM. So when we're talking about CRM, we're talking about customer relationship management software. So if you do have any of that in play, obviously you will have practice management software, most of you, but sometimes people have a CRM sitting alongside that to make sure that people within the company or within the firm are aware of particular individuals and what services they have and haven't had in the past. It can help with planning what they might be interested or eligible for service-wise in the future. There's great opportunities that can be gathered from there. So you can have a look at who's engaging with the communications that you're sending, and you can also get reporting on a whole range of different things. Just depends on how your CRM is set up. Then, of course, there's social media analytics. So if you are playing in the social media space already, advertising or not advertising at all, that's a good place for you to go and have a look and see how your engagement is faring. We all hear about the value of engagement, people actually responding to posts or engaging with comments and things like that. But if there's a way for you, if there is a way for you and you haven't set it up already to connect that to the pathway to conversion and actually acquiring these people as clients, then that's where this sort of software comes in handy. So I'm not going to get into those today because they're more detailed, often attached really to people spending money and time on the advertising side of things there. But today we're going to focus on some really important data, and that is looking at your website analytics. This is really important because you've got this website set up. Most of you would have websites, and most people don't actually know what's happening on their website. They just know that it's there. It's this advertising feature that they absolutely need, and people go there to do some do some research and check out what it is that you do and whether it's a good fit for them, and then they decide to make a call. So Google Analytics is what we're going to take a walkthrough of today. It's going to show you the actions and the behaviors that are taking place on your website. So I'm going to take you through that. It's an introductory walkthrough to get you familiar with it to start with. So it's not in depth. It's very much a surface level introduction to Google Analytics. And it's going to help you with some strategic decision making in terms of marketing strategy. So let's get started. Let's take a look.
So when you log in to your Google Analytics account, it will look something like this. As you can see on the far left side, there's the home page, customization, if that's been set up for you, and then the reporting. So you can see real-time reporting, overview, locations, sources of traffic, and if you're tracking conversions as well. Also some insights into your audience. Every section starts with an overview, as you can see here, active users, lifetime value. These beta functionalities have to be set up. So if you want to start using those, that's something different again. But as I said earlier, today we're going to start with a basic introduction so you can get familiar with what you can see at a glance, and also taking a few key steps beyond that initial glance as well. So you can see there's a whole lot of information here, and then in the acquisition section as well, looking at traffic if you have using paid ads, if you've connected your Google Search Console account, and then of course there's behavior, things connected to your website, and then of course conversions if you're tracking goals as well, and if you've got an e-commerce integration. So most law firms don't have an e-commerce integration, but some do if they sell resources. So that may be appropriate for you as well. So if we have a look at the dashboard that everyone will see when they first log into Google Analytics, this is the home page or the home section, and it gives you some initial quick at a glance insights. Now let's step by step go through this. Now immediately I think what I need to draw attention to you about is the timelines here. So what this is normally defaulted to show is the last 7 days. So how much traffic is coming to your site, how many sessions they've had, the percentage of bounce rate, so whether people bounce out of your site, and what the average duration of their visit is. So everyone's got different intent when they come to your website. Sometimes they're looking for something like a phone number or an address, or they're looking for a specific topic, let's say, and so that contributes to session duration. It really depends on how your website is set up and whether you're looking for people to spend a lot of time on your site. For some people who have, video tutorials and things like that for their team members, or for clients as well, that's where you're going to see session durations really rapidly leap up. But otherwise, if people get what they want and they're in and out, then that's great as well. So it just depends what your individual goals are. So the default, as I said, is 7 days. And as I go to record here, you can see that we can choose to look at it as in the last 28 days, the last 90 days, or set specific goals. Now, when I record this, we're at the end of 2020. And going into 2021, we know that 2020 gave us COVID-19. And so some decision making that was being made about what to do next needed to be put into different contexts. So this is just a bit of a side note, but always take into account what's happening in the world, because if you're looking at, say, the last 30 days and you're in the middle of a pandemic or a lockdown, that may be very insightful, and it might be very insightful for the short term, but not necessarily for your long-term strategy. So let's look at the last 90 days for this particular site. And you can see here that for this site, 8,800 visits came to this site for a total of 10,000 separate sessions. We can see the bounce rate here. We can see the average duration. So not all that different from that 7-day period that we were looking at before in this particular instance. This section here shows you how many people are on your site right now, and at this point in time there are 0. Over here it gives you a little bit of some insights into, this changes a lot, so it really depends on what Google is looking to share with you, but there's a whole range of insights and we'll have a look at that with more depth in a moment. Then it's how do you acquire users? You can see there's different sections here, traffic channel, so that is where the traffic is coming from, and we'll look into that in a minute too, the source, so where it is coming from. So channel is potentially these things, so people searching organically and coming across your business, your website, people looking or searching directly for your website, other traffic, other websites referring you in. That also includes social, email, things like that. Then you can see here, where are your users? So as you can see, this is defaulted to the last 7 days, but if we have a look at the last 90 days, and this for Australian law firms, generally speaking, this is pretty usual. So the majority of your traffic is going to be coming from Australia. People are looking for other information that you may be answering, and they're going to be reflected there. Then over here, when do your users visit? This is particularly interesting because, and this is defaulted to the last 30 days, because it just goes to show that people are coming to your website at all times of the day and night. So this is 2 a.m. on this particular time frame. On a Wednesday, 23 users at 2 a.m. in the morning. So depending on the type of law firm that you operate, it really depends. Obviously the interest varies, but if your law firm is really attached to an area of law that means that people are stressed and it's keeping them up at night, this is really indicative of that. This is also where if you've got lots of traffic coming in the middle of the night, you can assume that the phone number that you provide in a contact us form is, your contact us form is your alternative to a phone number if people want to make contact. But you can see here that if there's so many inquiries late at night or queries where people are coming to your site and having a look on a Sunday night at 10 p.m, you can really get a picture of when people are looking for you. And when they're looking, that tells us often that there is a desire to take a next step potentially. And so that's where things like booking a time and being able to make appointments on the website itself might prove to be really beneficial to capture the interest at those particular times. You can see here the bulk of the interest is definitely in these 9 to 5 hours, but this will be different for every business. So take a look at when your users visit your website. So when people do visit, what pages are they visiting? So this is where you will see a symbol like this, and all that means is that that's actually the home page, so where people land. Page value is something different again. We won't go into that here, but it just gives you the volume. So in this instance, in the last 7 days, 204 page views of that home page, and then it goes into other specific pages that people have been most interested in. Now, you can't see that because we're protecting this information, but essentially it is blog article topics where people are looking to research what they need to consider and what they need to do. So blog articles and blog topics are very helpful when people are putting in queries when they search online. And then in addition to that, because they're not all blogs, they are some of the other pages, like the service pages. Normally the page that is second most popular, second to the homepage, is the About page or the About Us page, where your team and yourself are being introduced and people get to know the people behind the law firm and brand. So that's what you'll see. And again, it really is listing in what's most popular in the last 7 days and how many page views there are. And then, of course, you can have a look at the last 90 days or the last calendar year if you want to put in a specific time frame and really figure out what is proving to be the most insightful or most interesting places that people end up and they spend time on your site. This section here is talking about how many active users there are. So you can just see that over this period of time, fairly consistent number of people visiting your site over a daily period, over a weekly period, and over the last 30-day period as well. Over here, we can look at what are the top devices. So when people are searching for your firm or searching a query online and discover your law firm's website, what are they using? And this one very clearly shows us for the 7-day period at least that 54% are coming in on mobile, 44% on desktop, and 1.5% on tablet. Now, you can see these results obviously compared to the 7 days prior, but let's have a look at, say, 90 days, for instance. And you can see that mobile usage is particularly high. So potentially people are sitting on the couch late at night, in bed late at night, early in the morning, and these are the devices they have at their disposal. So definitely insightful there. And obviously most people would have mobile responsive sites, but definitely is an important consideration. Retain users. This is more, valid or interesting for e-commerce businesses. You want people to be coming back to you to repurchase, things like that, depending on the type of firm that you have and whether that is important to you. That does show you with some more detail. We'll have a look at that with some more detail later. And then if there are any goals. So normally if your website has been set up and goals have been set up to figure out how effective you are at being able to get people to fill out a form or to do a particular action. So it might be to click on a phone number, something like that. Those are specific goals that you may have had set when your website is set up or that you've added over time. So that is the general overview. And already that gives everybody a great insight into what is happening on your site. And as you can see now, there is one person here, and what you can't see is the exact page, but I can, and you would be able to see what is it that they're actually looking at. Now we're going to look specifically at two key areas and delve into those a little bit more, because I believe that they're going to be the most advantageous for you in terms of understanding what type of traffic is coming to your site and showing interest in your site and what you do. Let's go to the acquisition report and click on that. And of course, every time when we're in analytics, we have to look at the time frame that we're talking about. So I like to potentially look at a year time frame. I'll change this to 2019 in this instance to give me a good 12-month look at where our traffic has been coming from for this particular site. You can see that there is an increase in daily visitors that sort of stepped up in this November period here. You can see it's building up there. Now, so the top channels for getting acquisitions in terms of getting people to the site, 80% is sitting here in terms of organic search. That means people are typing into Google what they're looking for, and that's how they're coming to this particular site. Then there's direct traffic, so that's the green area in this instance, which indicates that people are actually typing in the business name and looking for this particular business or particular people within that firm. The referral traffic is another piece of the puzzle, so that is where people are suggesting that they go to your particular site. Social is, as what it sounds like, is that there's that traffic coming from social media visibility, or whether you're doing anything there deliberately or not, and same with email, so directing people through that. Now, depending on how your account is set up, this one hasn't got any goals set up because of this, the way the website was designed by this client or the web designers in this instance. But you can see here that, there's a lot of organic search, that is unpaid traffic coming to the site, which has equated to almost 20,000 or 19,000 visitors across the last calendar year. So that is definitely insightful there. Let's take a look at this section called referrals. And so what this is doing, again, it's defaulted over here to the 7-day period. So make sure that you're just keeping an eye on that. I'm looking at the 12-month period for this particular client. And this is telling us the actual source. So while you can't see what is driving traffic for this particular business, I can tell you that so what we do have here is an award site. We also have LinkedIn, Facebook, we have the YouTube and Instagram, as well as Google Mail. So they are the top 10 referrals that are driving traffic from, say, another source into the website, people coming to take a look. So obviously it's important when you're having a look at your referral sources, where the traffic is coming from out of that referral traffic. So when we talked about the pie before, we were looking at a very small amount of referral traffic. I'll take us back there. So in this instance, the referral traffic is quite small. So 541 users came to the site from referral sites, essentially. 80% of the traffic came to the site naturally. They were typing in something into Google and they were found that way. 15% of people were specifically looking for the business name, and that's how they came to be on the site. So depending on what it is that you're looking to achieve, potentially, referral sources could be an area that you are looking to increase. Potentially your organic search may be reduced, and you've also got to take into account the volume, right? So if you've got really low volume of traffic coming into your site, in this instance, you can see that there's 23,000 people have come to the site across this 12-month period. If your numbers are really low, like in the low, say 2, 3, 5, under 10,000, potentially that is a problem for you. Potentially it's not as well. So you've got to keep this in context. But in this instance, we can say, look, this is a really great result. We're not having to pay for traffic to the site. Is that enough traffic to the site? Does the business have enough leads coming in off the back of those users? So there are a few things that can be investigated off the back of this, but it definitely gives you this picture of where your traffic is coming from. So if we go back to the homepage, again, this is an introduction to the type of data that you can get, and there is a lot more that can be done to specifically to customize for an individual business here, but it definitely is a great place to start. So I recommend that you speak to your web developer, your web designer, get them to provide you access to your Google Analytics account and take a look at what it is that you could be doing, and it'll give you some confidence on potential next steps.
So what's next in terms of data? Well, as we said, the first place to start is Google Analytics, and then, of course, your accounting software. I recommend talking to your accountant and finding out how you can access particular dashboards or particular reports that would be really beneficial for you based on what you're looking to achieve. Then, of course, there's the social media, which we alluded to before, email marketing, CRM side of things, the customer relationship software. Having a look at what is possible there is also fantastic because you're already paying for that software. You're already paying for, let's say if you're doing ads on Facebook or Instagram, you're already paying for that. You may as well get the insights that are there. I think what's important to all of this is the fact that it has to be set up early. As I alluded to, or as I said in the Google Analytics walkthrough, same thing applies with Facebook. If you're looking to track data and get some insights into the people that are interacting, engaging with your content, and ideally linking through to connect with you and become a client, the reality is you need to have something in place to make that happen. So for Facebook, it is about installing the Facebook Pixel and making sure that that takes place. Otherwise, that tracking can't be done or it can't be recorded until such date as the Pixel has been included. So there's a little bit to learn there, but not a great deal. And if you've got specialists that you're working with, then recommend that you ask them what sort of data and insights are available to you. So given that you're already paying for those types of insights, that's definitely the first place. But what's next is really an exciting area that we work in with our clients, and I wanted to bring it to your attention just so that you're aware of it, and that is search engine optimization. There is an incredible amount of data available about what people are searching for. And so you might have heard of search engine optimization from a paid ads perspective, and that is something that people do, and it is beneficial for businesses. But we like to work in the area of organic search, that is not having to pay for ads, but actually start creating messaging that actually connects with what people are actually typing in on the Google search bar. So that's called an organic SEO or on-page or on-site changes to your content to make sure that it connects up to what people are actually typing into the search bar. So it's a really exciting space, incredible insights into what people are searching for, down to the detail of specific phrases, whether they've got, how do I at the beginning of the sentence, or what does it mean when. There's an awful lot of, question-based search queries that people type in. And then, of course, there are specific search queries that people type in, such as conveyancing lawyer, North Sydney, for instance. When people start getting specific, they have intent, they're looking for somebody directly, as opposed to, say, the research side of things where people are looking for answers to things. And so the great space there is that the great insights that can be gathered there is that data does exist. We can get insights about what questions, what queries, and what phrases people are typing in, and down to the detail of per month. And also it is also specific to geography. So it's in a really incredible space. So do get started on the Google Analytics first. That is the first place I take all of my clients, and you now are equipped to be able to do that for yourself. If you would like to receive updates about the work of the Centre for Legal Innovation and ALPMA, please be sure to follow them on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. And my details are also here if you would like to connect as well. I hope you enjoyed the session. I hope you enjoy getting stuck into Google Analytics.